into that, and also new actions by the FCC against ABC. We have Texas Republican Congressman Pete Sessions. Congressman Sessions, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, Nana.
All right, first we're going to show our viewers, we're going to go right to that presser yesterday that the Justice Department had, and this is what they said about their case. Listen.
James Comey allegedly threatened the life of the President of the United States, and as you all now know, shortly after posting that threat, he deleted that threat and then issued an apology. All of that information was presented to the grand jury.
How do you prove intent in any case? You prove intent with witnesses, with documents, with the defendant himself to the extent it's appropriate, and that's how we'll prove intent in this case.
I mean, without a doubt, Comey and Trump have been adversaries for quite some time, but how is this all going to play out in court? Does the DOJ actually have a case over these seashells?
Well, these are good questions. I don't think there's anyone that doubts that Mr. Comey and President Trump had a dislike for each other. And I believe the FBI director was unwise in many of the decisions that he made, and decisions especially about Mrs. Clinton and others that he had no prosecutorial decision making in. But with that said, there are things that are notes back and forth that I'm sure that the FBI or the Department of Justice has that may show also what was in his thinking and mind as he responded to people probably that were favorable to him, is my guess.
Yeah, but you know what the chatter is this morning on cable news and on social media. The critics say this is political retribution, that this was President Trump telling the Justice Department to do this. Do you think it is?
Well, you know, I think we've seen what is called lawfare go back and forth for a number of years here. And Mr. Comey was at the heart of that for a long time. So I hate to see this. If there's evidence, it will either stand up or not, and things will move very rapidly. If the Department of Justice does not have a case, I think that makes them look bad. We'll see.
Okay, and speaking of retribution, this storyline is also a common thread among some corners of the internet and cable news this morning as well, as we talk about Jimmy Kimmel and the president and their spat that they've had. We have already shown the clip of Kimmel. You know, it just seems like the two are going back and forth, but we're also learning that the FCC is taking an early look at the licenses for ABC. Is that correlation or causation?
Well, I think it certainly looks petty to me, but these things that Jimmy Kimmel's a part of incite people to do things that are not good, just like what former FBI Director Comey did. When leading edge people who are supposed to be balanced in our society lean in on these issues, it causes people that are not so balanced to do things that are not good. And so I think the president and the Department of Justice is well within their purview to say these are not things that should go on. We've got a terrible circumstance with almost every single member of Congress. We had them with Supreme Court justices. We have them with the administration, and they certainly are on the president. So is the Department of Justice, and are we there to protect our president and our democracy? You bet we are. So sorry, these comments are not helpful, and they need to understand will not be tolerated.
Right. And the White House says that radical left-wing rhetoric is leading to these assassination attempts of the president. I mean, it's wild. We're just 4 days out from the third, perhaps fourth assassination attempt, not counting what Iran tried to do previously to President Trump. And right now we're in the middle of a shutdown for DHS. The Department of Homeland Security is not being funded right now. And we're, 70 days in or so? I want you to take a listen to what Senator Chuck Schumer says about all of it.
Republicans are blocking DHS funding. And now, instead of focusing on the one thing that could make Americans safer, passing the DHS bill, what are Republicans focused on? It's amazing. A $400 million gilded ballroom funded by the taxpayers. That's not about national security.
So is this one of those instances where it's look at this shiny thing over there, or, are Republicans to blame? Schumer says you guys are to blame.
Well, make no mistake about it, the Democratic Party, the Democratic leadership, and the members are voting to make sure that we do not have any deterrence at the border. They do not like ICE. They do not like the Border Patrol. And this is their opportunity to squeeze that issue. It will come down to a fight at the election day. Who will want to protect this country? And we do need their votes. And there are times as a member that I've had to vote for things when there were Democrat presidents to fund the government, to fund things that had to be done. We need the people who are listening to contact their member of Congress and senators and say, let's fund the government. We have great big soccer tournaments that are going to be all around this country, but we have to protect this country, and the people that are doing it are being denied their paychecks and funding.
All right, Congressman, we've got to jump, but quickly, the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, is going to be testifying today, likely asking for more money for more missile defense systems, more drones, more warships. The war right now is not popular with the American people. If this does continue on, if this war with Iran does continue on, what happens to Republicans at the ballot box in the midterms?
Well, I think that these are certainly good questions, but the bottom line is that the Iranians have drawn the line on their ability to produce nuclear weapons to threaten people. And we've already understood, as well we heard from the king yesterday, what a dangerous idea that is to give people who are fundamentalists against not only America but the free world the ability to have the nuclear weapon. And so that's a line that we're willing to take to the election because the Iranians have made sure we understand that. They want to play in
look, they're bleeding hundreds of millions of dollars every single day. It's a game of chicken. Who's going to blink first? But with gas prices at a record level right now since the war began, Americans are certainly paying attention to all of it. Thank you so much for joining us. We are out of time. Texas Congressman Pete Sessions. Love to chat with you again soon. Thanks.
Thank you.